Traditionally, this is the day when families come together to bring blessings and wealth and into their homes by investing in precious metals like gold and silver. But here's something that you might not know. It's all about timing. There's a specific Mahurat or auspicious time believed to bring luck when buying these metals, and today many are taking advantage of the window to invest, hoping it will bring prosperity not just for the day but for the entire year ahead. So whether it's for you or for a loved one, Dhanteras has become an increasingly popular day for adding a sparkle to your portfolio. Now let's dive into what's happening with prices. Over the past year, domestic gold prices have jumped a staggering 40%, with the cost per 10 gram rising from around 60,750 rupees during last year's Diwali to nearly 81,000 rupees now. That's a significant leap. And despite a slowdown in gold exports due to softer demand from countries like the US, the domestic market remains optimistic. The All India Gem and Jewellery Domestic Council predicts a 30% spike in retail sales this festive season, a projection that is supported by trends in the global market where central banks are showing renewed interest in gold as a safe haven asset. So, should you buy gold? How high could the prices go from here on, and what opportunities are there in gold stocks? To answer all that, we are joined by Nilesh Shah, Managing Director, Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company, and Sachin Jain, CEO of India Gold Council. Now, Nilesh, thank you for giving us time here on News9. First, I'll come to you. Now, gold and silver prices, they have delivered some great returns during this year, but with prices now at elevated levels, do you think it's wise to add these precious metals to one's portfolio this Dhanteras beyond the traditional celebratory buying, or should investors be more cautious given the current market conditions?
So one investor always has to be cautious. In Dalal Street, we do Lakshmi Pujan on the evening of Diwali. But we have to do Saraswati Pujan every day to make money. The way to Lakshmi ji passes by worshipping Saraswati ji. So, point number one, investor always has to be aware, cautious. Second, if you are trading, then you have to follow the dharma of stop loss. If you are investor, then you have to follow the dharma of averaging. In a trading position, stop loss must be triggered with discipline. In investing position, research must be done vigorously if call does not come right as per your expectation. But at the end of the day, stock market is a place where inexperienced people will lose money and gain experience, and experienced persons will make money.
All right, Nilesh, but speaking specifically about gold, do you think it's a good idea to buy gold as an investment beyond the typical, festive and customary buying, because the prices have risen quite substantially?
So again, on gold and silver, we believe despite their all-time high prices, there is still room for gold and silver prices to go up. Central banks around the world, after Western world seizure of $500 billion of Russian FX reserves and shifting earnings of that massive reserves to Ukraine, is creating nervousness among central banks, and each one is in race to buy gold. This race is likely to continue for some time as central banks' allocation to gold can go higher from current level. Silver moves in sympathy with gold, but there is short supply of silver, which is resulting into higher prices. Net, we still believe gold and silver are asset class which one should be overweight. Most people buy gold during Dhanteras day, during Diwali Pujan time, and they all buy in smaller denominations of 5 grams, 10 grams, 15 grams, 20 grams. Many a times you end up paying 30-40% transaction cost for buying gold in small denomination. 100 रुपए की चीज आपको 130-140 रुपए में मिलती है. My recommendation, please follow the tradition, please follow the culture, but improve the art of execution by buying gold ETF rather than buying physical gold in smaller denomination. You will save a lot of money.
All right, Sachin, I'll come to you now. Now, gold has outperformed equities in Samvat 2080. I mean, what are the factors, one, driving up prices, and second, can the yellow metal repeat this feat in Samvat 2081?
Well, first and foremost, thanks for getting me on your platform. It's a pleasure to be here. You asked me about how gold has performed, and you're absolutely spot on that gold has been amongst one of the most strongest performing asset classes in 2024. And the reasons for that have been various. When we started the year, one of the most important reasons of that movement was the central bank's purchase. And we've been in a year which has continued to be not a very sort of easier from a geopolitics perspective. And those have been the more important reasons why gold has been the way it has been in 2024. If you look at what's happening right now, one of the important elements have been that the first half of the year, the financial markets, particularly the global ETFs in the Western markets, were in cashing and booking profits. And we've seen their entry back in the markets in this quarter. So that's been a big trigger. And this whole de-dollarization in a certain conversation that's been happening, the whole safe haven conversation around what gold does, and the diversification of a portfolio perspective are really all playing out. And hence, it's been all cumulative together. It's been a very strong year for gold.
Right, and Mr. Shah, I'll come to you now. Now, with gold prices, jewelry companies are cutting, with gold prices high, jewelry companies are cutting their making charges to boost sales. I mean, is this a sign of weakening demand, or are they simply preparing for potential contingencies during the festive season?
So, gold and retail is not regulated like mutual fund. When I say something, I have to back it up with data, and my regulator is supervising me. But in retailing, you have seen many a times, price goes up 100% and then say we are offering 50% discount. In jewellery, we don't know when they are waiving off making charges, what other costs they are adding. Please remember, no one is in the business of charity. We as mutual fund, while we follow rules, regulations, we do charge our fees. Otherwise, how will my company run? How will my house run? The same thing is true in jewellery or retailing. Whatever promises are made, please remember they are not in charity business. They have to run their office, they have to run their house, they have to pay salaries of their employees, they have to pay interest to the banks. So, please take all these claims with a pinch of salt. Do your basic research. You will find that 90% of such claims are having something hidden behind it.
All right, so just to clarify, Mr. Shah, would you say that buying jewelry is not the best way to get exposure, invest in gold, and perhaps, investors should look at digital avenues like exchange traded funds, gold bonds, or should they rather stick to physical assets?
See, if you have to buy jewelry for an occasion, like wedding, like outgoing, then you'll have to buy jewelry. You can't go and wear gold ETF statement of account and go to a party or go to a wedding. People will laugh at you. Your family will disown you if you do this. But if you are investing for saving, then please consider gold ETF instead of buying smaller denomination gold. Many women, do what is known as monthly investment with jeweler. They give 11 installments and 12th installment is contributed by jeweler, and at the end of 12th month you get an option to buy ornament. Now, many jewelers are there for 50, 100 years. You can trust them. But there are many jewelers which are fly-by-night operators. They'll run away with your money. What will you do to recover? So instead of doing SIP with a roadside jeweler, please do it in gold ETF. You're going to get similar advantage.
All right. Sachin, I'll take the same question with you. I mean, what's the best way for an investor to get exposure in gold and, at a time like this?
Well, I think so we as in India, gold has been part of a social fabric, and it's been part of our table room conversations, and it's been part of our lives for not just a few years, but for decades and for centuries. And the physicality of gold is something that we as Indians purely love. And it's great that now we have more transparent ways of buying gold, and their physical ways of buying gold. And over the last few years, the financialization, the financial markets of gold have also triggered up. So today, a consumer has an opportunity to buy physical gold, and more easier ways, like for example, for ETFs and other products that have come out, which are much easier to sort of store and manage and so on and so forth. So today, I think a consumer has a variety of options of physical gold, both in the form of jewelry, in the form of bullion, and also products like ETF, which make it very easy and conducive for people to hold and get the best returns on gold.
All right, that's on gold. But while we are all talking about gold here, on a year-to-date basis in 2024, silver has done even better. I mean, do you think it can continue to outperform gold in the near term? And Sachin, this is for you.
Well, I'm not an expert on silver at all, but there's always a correlation between gold pricing and silver pricing, and what you see as performance has been quite related to what we've seen historically. Now, whether it'll outperform or not, the silver is supposed. I mean, it's been pegged at very confident, and people are putting a lot of confidence in the commodity, and we'll see where it plays out.
All right, Mr. Shah, I'll come to you now. Between gold and silver, what do you prefer, and any price predictions for both till next Diwali?
So again, we have been bullish gold and silver since COVID time. 2020 it worked out well. 2021 was a disaster. It gave negative return. But we stick to our call. 22, 23, 24, gold and silver has delivered great return. Now, frankly speaking, when I started in March 20 bottom that gold should be overweight, did I have any idea that gold will touch $2,600 per ounce? Answer is no. You take a call on a longer term basis based on central bank buying, based on consumer demand, based on supply. And that gives you confidence to say that yes, despite this run up, there's room for gold to go further higher. There's room for silver to go further higher. Do I have any price target in mind? Answer is no. Do I have time horizon in mind? Answer is yes. I want people to invest in gold and silver with a 3 to 5 year horizon, not 3 to 6 months horizon.
All right. Sachin, what are your price predictions for gold by Diwali 2025?
So we as World Gold Council do not predict any pricing of gold at all. But I can tell you that right now the gold is at an all-time high. I mean, this is one of the unique years that we've seen 40 peaks of gold pricing in this one calendar year starting January till October, and we still have a couple of months to go. With the current pricing of gold, which actually has gone down a little bit over the last week, we've seen a very sort of buoyant consumer buying happening on the floors. About 3 weeks back, we were all wondering whether at the price of 80,000 crossing of gold, whether it will very negatively impact the consumption of gold on ground. And because you said Dhanteras and Diwali, the fact that it's physically consumers getting into the stores and buying precious metal, it's important the way they sit emotionally. And I think the emotion that we'll see tomorrow on Dhanteras and Diwali will be extremely strong. And that's what we foresee. Now, we will be giving out a projection of where the gold market sits and the projection of the forecast of the outlay of the market that will happen in December. But certainly, we as World Gold Council, we do not predict pricing. It's been a very strong year for gold, and we foresee that in the coming time also it continue to be very strong, as strong as a commodity, as strong as an asset class.
All right, that's some great expert opinion coming in from our experts. Nilesh Shah, Managing Director at Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company, and Sachin Jain, CEO India at World Gold Council. Gentlemen, thank you for giving us time here on News9. Seasoned greetings to you, your teams and your family. But we'll move on, and joining us on the show now is Rahul Gupta, Chairman and Managing Director of PP Jewellers Diamonds Private Limited. And with deep industry expertise, Rahul will shed light on how rising gold prices impact jewelry companies, the evolving demand trends around Dhanteras, shift in consumer preference, and the factors influencing the recent decline in jewelry stocks. He's also share his outlook on the challenges and opportunities the jewelry industry might face in the coming year. Rahul, First of all, season greetings to you, sir. How do you see the rising gold prices impacting jewelry companies? Because in my view, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, there seems to be a complex balance. On one hand, higher prices increases the value of the existing inventory, but they also drive up raw material costs, which can again squeeze margins. But additionally, as prices climbs, customers, they tend to become more price sensitive, possibly impacting demand unless, the companies, they adjust their making charges, isn't it?
See, the present rising prices are basis the international uncertainties. So gold price in India is derived basis two factors. That is price in national market, which right now has breached $2700. It is hovering around $2700, and also the dollar to rupee exchange rate, which is right now around 84.10. So the situation right now is that the price increase is not the final position right now. The price reaching at 81,000, it is not that it is stopping here. So in such a situation, the consumer doesn't get wary of rising prices. Rather, consumer feels that it's on an uptrend. So he wants to join the uptrend, and he's looking for higher prices, which is the situation right now. If the uncertainties do not end, which have not been ending since Ukraine war, and the financial uncertainties in Western world are increasing, the US has reduced the interest rates, a lot of public debt has increased, various central banks have stopped collecting dollars into their forex reserve. They want to switch to gold because of the sanctions. So once the Ukraine war is there, so US has levied sanctions on Russia, and Iran sanctions were already there. So the countries trading with Russia or Iran or such group of countries would need gold to trade in. That is the reason why the central banks are switching from dollar to the gold. In such scenario, the prices are not going to stop here. They are still on a bull run. They are still seeming to be going higher. In such situation, the demands have not impacted much. In value terms, rather, demands have gone up because people tend to spend little more. They feel that whatever fashion expense they were doing on jewelry, they would like to do investment also in gold, seeing the uptrend. The gold prices has gone up from, after COVID times, has gone up from 35,000 to 85,000 and 81,000 to be precise in today's date. So seeing that kind of rise, seeing the double the price since the COVID or even more than double, the people and the consumer have the confidence intact. And I don't see that the consumers will be backing off. But whereas, as you just rightly pointed out, that your own inventories have risen in the value, but any marginal new purchase is at a higher price. But the sales are there. The people don't do any, the jewelers never speculate. They practically do everything on a hedged basis. So whatever stock sells, they buy it out again, they earn margin, and they try to increase stocks basis that. So jewelers are not facing any kind of, I'll say, speculation gains or losses in the situation. Their inventories are going up. And the consumer at large, their demand is intact. Tomorrow is today is Dhanteras, and I would like to wish you all the viewers on today's auspicious day that they should buy gold. It's Lakshmi Ji's days, and the more the gold you have, the trend is showing that the happier you are with the higher prices.
Right. Rahul, and how has the demand for gold and jewelry been leading up to Dhanteras? Because I was reading this report from All India Gems and Jewelry Domestic Council, GJC. Now, they are predicting a 30% surge in retail sales this festive season. Do you think these numbers are realistic based on what you are seeing in the market?
See, the 30% increment is by virtue of price only. This year is going to be higher. Imagine since last year, the prices has gone up from 65,000 to 80,000. So 18,000, 30% of 60,000 is basis the price increment itself. The people, see, the people incomes have not gone up as much as that. So they, somebody who bought 8-gram coin would try to buy 8-gram coin next year. So 30% demand increment in terms of value has happened by virtue of that. So in quantity terms, the demands are same. Whereas in value terms, the demand value has gone up. And with this kind of price trend where 1 lakh rupees a kg seems to be 1 crore rupees a kg or 1 lakh rupees 10 grams, it seems to be the next milestone. In such situation, I believe we'll see 30% based on price and another 10-15% increment in demand based on quantities. So I believe some 40-45% of increment would be visible in the current year. That's what my take is.
Okay, moving on. Now, Rahul, in the current economic climate, have you observed any shift in, consumer behavior or preference when it comes to gold versus, other types of jewelry? Are customers more focused on investment grade pieces or trending towards more affordable options?
You're absolutely right. The demand of the artificial jewelry is going up because those times when the gold price was 8,000 rupees or 4,000 rupees 10 gram, the affordability of gold was much easier, as a matter of fact. And people had switched to silver, but silver is also not stopping anywhere. It's 1.1 lakh rupees a kg. So in such situation, the youngsters are really having shift of demand purely on gold, and they are taking such options as to artificial jewelry. There is diamond jewelry which is getting made in silver also now. Earlier, diamond jewelry was purely made into gold. So yes, metal price is going up. There is a shift, but the investment demand is much stronger at the same time. The people who are investing into stocks are really making portfolio allocation towards gold, whether it is in physical gold format, whether it is in ETF format, or whether it is in gold bond of Government of India. So allocation has increased, but yes, per se jewelry allocation, gold allocation has increased, but per se jewelry allocation has reduced. There is no doubt the people really now pick up the artificial jewelry options. Also, they tend to preserve their gold jewelry with much precaution as in comparison to past because of the gold prices going so high.
All right, Rahul, that's on demand, but GJC is predicting a 30% increase in demand this festive season. You are predicting a 45% increase, but jewelry stocks now, they have taken quite a beating in a market downturn. Some of these stocks are down as much as 18%, whereas Nifty has fallen about 8% from the peak. So purely from a business perspective, what do you think is leading to this adverse sentiment towards jewelry stocks?
See, there are two kind of jewelry business models. One is people who borrow in gold. So the banks, they extend credit in terms of the rupee or in terms of gold. So the sanctions of the bank in a banking industry is always into rupees in the monetary terms. For example, if a company has got 500 crore rupees sanction and the gold price goes up and he has been borrowing gold from the bank, so then his inventory depletes. If he had at 500 crores value, then he would have had a ton of gold stocks with him. The moment price moves to 80,000, so there'll be a bank squeeze. Bank would reduce the gold lending. He has to pay them off because the outstanding will become 800 crores and he can't afford to, neither the bank nor the borrower can take the borrowings on a rise. So all those stocks where the borrowings is in the form of gold loan, they take a hit because the inventory is reduced, the stock turnover ratio will reduce and the margins will reduce. This is the basic difference. And the ones who are absolutely on the long position and they are borrowing in the currency terms and they have the gold stocks in their books of accounts by virtue of fixed prices. So in those stocks, you would not see much movement. So once we see and compare the balance sheets of the different groups, different listed company will get an idea. The ones who are purely on gold loan, they take a hit on the stock and their interest rates are surely less. The gold borrowing is much cheaper as in comparison to rupee borrowing. Rupee borrowing takes a charge of around 9 to 10%, whereas in case of gold borrowings, the lease rate is around 3 to 4%. But the price movement going up by 30%, so the interest cost differential is not going to affect the bottom line. The real effect to bottom line will be the stock turnover ratio and the availability of stocks, which will reduce. That's the reason the gold loan borrowing companies, their stocks are downturn.
All right, but shifting focus and looking ahead, what are the biggest challenges and opportunities you foresee for the jewelry industry in the coming year? And any trends that you're picking up or market shift that could reshape the industry?
See, India is a growing market, so there's always an uptrend into the growth. There is no confusion. The rising prices are only threat for the quantity. The value term demands are going up. So the only threat a jeweler has is the manufacturing cost. The gold price goes up, there is a wastage for manufacturing the jewelry. So the wastage value keeps increasing. If I lost a gram while manufacturing a jewelry where the price was 50,000, so my wastage cost was 5,000 rupees. Whereas when I lose a gram while manufacturing and when the price is 80,000, I lose 8,000 rupees. So the wastage cost is going up. So the industry would surely now equip itself with the better equipments for recovery of the losses. they would try to recover each and every penny out of it because it matters. Even the cost of the recovery, even if it's higher, it would be viable for the industry. So that's the threat, and this is the solution which would seem demand is not going to take a hit. We are a society where still there are people, I think 40 to 50% people may not be owning any gold at all. So those are the real future for the country for entering into the demand wagon.
All right, Rahul, one final question from me. I'll, engage you in some crystal ball gazing. What are your price predictions for gold by Diwali, by Diwali 2025?
1 lakh is the round figure which is asking now. The way prices have moved up from 50,000 to 80,000 post-COVID, and the way international central banks are switching in from their dollar reserves to gold, 1 lakh rupees a 10 gram may not be very difficult. It'll be, say, another half a year, maybe by next Navratri, we may see such prices.
All right, Rahul, thank you for giving us time here on News9. Season greetings to you, your family and your team. And with that, that's a wrap on our Dhanteras special. Thank you for joining us, and special thanks to our expert guest who gave us time here and helped you making informed, investment decisions this Dhanteras. Wishing you all a season filled with health, wealth and happiness. Stay tuned to News9, and wishing you all again a very happy Dhanteras and a very happy Diwali.
Who am I?
Nobody can crack that mystery.
There is a certain expectation of me.
That's the only contradiction.
Life itself is stranger than fiction.
I was a perfectly normal person born in an abnormal world.
I really didn't understand why is it different.
Just imagine a child who is bullied every day.
Boys school में कुछ लड़का लोग मेरे साथ sexual abuse किए.
मुझे तेरे बारे में सब पता है और मैं तेरा रेप कर दूँगा.
You also start to stigmatize.
अरे ये तो time pass है.
Sex doesn't come in the picture. Sex comes later. Then there are man-made narratives.
Why do you walk like that? Why do you sway so much? So you can understand the trauma of a person who's trapped in a wrong body.
But nothing can bind life.
We have to reclaim the lost position. We fought for more than 10 years.
Today I'm the mother of the industry.
I'm a first transgender member judge.
You can't walk in everybody's shoes.
This is what I'm comfortable with. They just are what they are.
You become the light yourself.
That is the change that I was looking for.
When I recognize myself is a small story, but it's an interesting one.
In the heart of New York, an Indian spectacle unfolds. Step into the world of the elite saga, featuring influential Indians who've rocked the globe. From culinary geniuses,
this has been nothing less than a dream,
to the wisdom of sages.
And which is why success can never be spelt without you.
Discover the stories behind the stars. Experience the magic behind the scenes. At the first Indian event at the Statue of Liberty. Watch the Elite Saga streaming only on News9 Plus. Download now.
Hello and a very good morning to all News9 viewers. I'm Neha Bhan. Let's take a look at some of the stories making headlines on the national and the international front before we begin. India and China are set to complete the disengagement process at Depsang and Demchok in eastern Ladakh. Both sides will verify the removal of structures before the first patrols begin later this month. Over 154 people injured, 8 of them seriously in a fireworks accident during a temple festival in Kasaragod district of Kerala. Dissidence hits the BJP in Karnataka ahead of by-polls. Former Minister Ramesh Jarkiholi says he won't campaign as long as Vijendra remains the state unit chief. Delhi Jal Board announces water shortage until 1st of November in several parts of national capital due to high ammonia content in Yamuna River. Several areas in East, Northeast and South Delhi along with regions under New Delhi Municipal Council will be affected. A surprise in Maharashtra polls. BJP spokesperson China NC joins Shiv Sena after the Eknath Shinde faction announces her as its candidate from Congress stronghold Mumba Devi. Centre expects to begin next census in 2025 and delimitation process by 2027. However, Telugu Desam Party calls for reworking delimitation policy to address concerns of Andhra Pradesh. Several southern states fear that delimitation based on population census could reduce their representation in parliament. Seven days to presidential elections. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump make a final push to persuade voters in battleground states Michigan and Georgia. Surveys in swing states show a tight race between the two. US President Joe Biden says Kamala Harris has more experience than Trump as he praises the Democratic candidate at a Diwali event at the White House. And as the country celebrates Dhanteras, the gold price surged 40% with the cost per 10 grams, dampening the mood of consumers even though jewelers expected good sale. All right, now, more than 150 people were injured, including 8 seriously, in a fireworks accident during a temple festival near Neelaswaram in Kerala's Kasaragod.